To truly understand the web of life, we must first grasp the profound interconnectedness that defines it. Nothing exists in isolation. Every being, every particle, every thought is part of a greater whole. The air we breathe was exhaled by trees. The water we drink has traveled through rivers, clouds, and ancient seas. The very atoms in our bodies were forged in the heart of stars. In this vast cosmic dance, everything is in relationship with everything else. Consider the soil beneath your feet. It is not merely dirt, but a living tapestry of microorganisms, minerals, decayed leaves, and roots. Without it, there would be no plants, no food, no life. And yet the soil is itself the product of countless interactions, weathering rocks, falling rain, the death and renewal of life over millennia. Each element depends on and contributes to the others in an unbroken chain of existence. Even our thoughts and actions ripple outward, influencing the world in ways we cannot see. A kind word, a careless deed, a single decision, they all touch others, who in turn touch others, creating waves that spread far beyond their point of origin. The interconnectedness of life is not just a poetic metaphor, it is a tangible reality that binds us to each other and to the earth itself. If every creature plays its part. The birds that scatter seeds, the bees that pollinate flowers, the predators that keep populations in balance, all of them are threads in the same web. Take one away and the system falters. This is the delicate balance of nature, an equilibrium maintained not by individual effort but by the collective harmony of all its parts. Even the struggles and conflicts within the web are a form of connection. Predation, competition, decay, these are not disruptions but integral processes that ensure the continuity of life. In this way, even destruction becomes creation, death becomes renewal, and endings become beginnings. Life is not a series of isolated events, but a continuum, where every point is connected to every other. The illusion of separation. The illusion of separation is one of humanity's most persistent and misleading beliefs. It is the idea that we are distinct from the world around us, that we stand apart as individuals isolated from the vast network of life. This illusion stems from the mind's tendency to draw boundaries, to label and categorize, to divide the seamless flow of existence into self and other, human and nature, us, and them. Yet these boundaries are constructs, not realities. We see ourselves as independent entities, as if our existence begins and ends at the skin. But what is the body without air, without water, without food drawn from the earth? What is the mind without language, without culture, without the collective knowledge passed down through generations? To believe we are separate is to ignore the countless ways we are sustained, shaped, and connected by the world we inhabit. This illusion is reinforced by our perception of control. We build walls to shield ourselves from the elements, machines to harness nature's power, and systems to exploit its resources. These efforts give the appearance of mastery, yet they disconnect us further from the reality that we are deeply embedded within nature, not above or outside it. By seeking to dominate, we sever the ties that bind us to the rhythms and wisdom of the natural world. Even within our societies, the illusion of separation thrives. We draw lines between nations, classes, and communities, as though these distinctions are fixed and absolute. We define ourselves by what we are not, creating a sense of otherness that fuels division and conflict. In doing so, we forget that beneath these superficial differences lies a shared essence, a common thread of humanity that connects us all. The illusion of separation blinds us to the truth that life is a continuum, not a collection of isolated fragments. It fosters a sense of loneliness and alienation, as if we are solitary travelers in a world indifferent to our presence. Yet this view is an error of perspective, a failure to see the intricate web of relationships that sustains and defines us. We are not islands, we are the ocean itself, flowing as one vast, interconnected whole. Cycles of life. The cycles of life are the heartbeat of existence, the eternal rhythm that guides all things through their phases of being. Nothing in nature exists in a static state. Everything flows, transforms, and renews in an unbroken dance of beginnings and endings. From the smallest organism to the grandest star, all follow the same universal pattern: birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. Consider the changing seasons. Spring awakens the earth with new life. Summer brings abundance and growth. Autumn invites release and transformation, and winter offers rest and quiet renewal. This cycle is mirrored in every facet of existence: the blooming of a flower, the migration of animals, even the rise and fall of civilizations. It is the rhythm of the universe itself, moving in spirals rather than straight lines. Human life, too, is bound to these cycles. From the moment we are born, we begin a journey that unfolds in stages: childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. Each phase carries its own lessons, challenges, and beauty. Growth is not linear, it is a process of the ego's trap. The ego, that ever-present voice within, is a master illusionist, convincing us that we are separate, self-contained entities standing apart from the world. It builds a fortress of identity: I am this, not that I own this, not that I control this, not that. This false sense of individuality blinds us to the interconnected nature of existence, creating a barrier between ourselves and the greater whole. At its core, the ego is driven by fear: fear of impermanence, fear of insignificance, fear of losing its imagined control. To protect itself, it clings to labels, possessions, and accomplishments, mistaking them for the essence of who we are. Yet these are fleeting and fragile, leaving the ego in a constant state of striving and defending, always seeking more but never finding enough. The ego's trap lies in its endless desire for separation and superiority. It views the world through the lens of comparison, defining itself by how it measures against others. This leads to conflict, as the ego sees life as a competition to be won rather than a harmony to be embraced. It cannot tolerate vulnerability or uncertainty, mistaking these as weaknesses rather than integral aspects of the human experience. Even when the ego seeks connection, it often does so with ulterior motives, looking for validation, power, or control. It pretends to build bridges but secretly fortifies its walls. This creates a paradox: the more the ego strives for significance, the more isolated and alienated it becomes. It forgets that true belonging comes not from standing apart but from surrendering to the flow of life. The ego also obscures the present moment, forever projecting into the past or future. It ruminates on what was and strategizes about what could be, rarely pausing to simply be. In this way, it distracts us from the richness of now, keeping us trapped in an endless cycle of dissatisfaction and longing. This is the great irony of the ego in its quest to secure its place in the world. It blinds us to the truth that we already belong, that we are already whole. By identifying with the illusion of separateness, the ego keeps us from recognizing the profound interconnectedness and unity that underlies all of existence. Nature as teacher. Nature is the greatest teacher, offering wisdom not through words but through its timeless rhythms, patterns, and quiet presence. It shows us how to live in harmony with the flow of life, embracing change, interdependence, and simplicity. Unlike the human-made world of constant striving and control, nature operates with an effortless intelligence, guiding all things toward balance and renewal. The trees teach us patience and resilience, growing slowly but steadily, their roots anchored deep in the earth, while their branches reach for the sky. They endure storms without resistance, bending when necessary, but never breaking their connection to the ground. Rivers teach us the art of flow, carving their path through persistence rather than force, finding the easiest course and adapting to every obstacle in their way. Nature reveals the beauty of cycles and impermanence. Seasons come and go, each with its purpose: spring for growth, summer for abundance, autumn for letting go, and winter for rest. Nothing clings to what has passed or rushes what is to come. This rhythm is a reminder that life is a series of transitions, each phase essential and meaningful. Even the smallest aspects of nature hold lessons. The spider weaves its web with focus and care, not worrying about how long it will last, but trusting in the purpose of its work. The flowers bloom without hesitation, adding beauty to the world without expectation of reward. The bees, the ants, the birds all live in service to the whole, demonstrating the power of collective effort and mutual support. Nature also teaches us humility, showing us our place within its vastness. The mountains, oceans, and stars remind us that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. In this perspective, the ego's concerns and anxieties seem insignificant, replaced by a sense of awe and wonder. Through its quiet and steady presence, nature shows us how to be present, how to listen, and how to observe without judgment. It doesn't hurry or strive, yet everything it accomplishes is essential and profound. When we take the time to connect with the natural world, we begin to understand its lessons not as separate observers, but as participants in the same intricate web of life. Harmony through acceptance. Harmony is not something to be forced or achieved. It arises naturally when we embrace acceptance. Life in all its complexity unfolds in ways that often defy our plans and expectations. To resist this flow is to create discord, but to accept it is to align ourselves with the natural rhythm of existence. Acceptance does not mean passive resignation. It is an active, conscious choice to meet life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. Nature exemplifies this effortlessly. The river accepts the rocks in its path, flowing around them rather than fighting against them. The trees endure the changing seasons, neither clinging to their leaves in autumn nor resisting the stillness of winter. This acceptance allows them to grow and thrive, not by opposing the forces around them, but by working in harmony with them. In our own lives, acceptance begins. We build our lives around plans, schedules, and goals, believing that with enough effort and foresight we can control outcomes. But life rarely adheres to our designs. Storms arise unbidden, events unfold in ways we could never anticipate, and even the most carefully laid plans are subject to the whims of chance. In clinging to the illusion of control, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment when reality refuses to conform. Nature itself is a testament to the futility of control. The river flows where it will, carving its path over centuries, indifferent to the rocks or barriers placed in its way. The weather shifts without regard for human plans, and the tides rise and fall in obedience only to the moon's pull. Life unfolds not through control, but through adaptation and harmony, responding fluidly to the ever-changing conditions around it. Even within ourselves, the illusion of control falters. Our thoughts and emotions often arise unbidden, influenced by countless factors beyond our conscious awareness. The body, with all its intricate processes, functions largely outside the realm of our deliberate control. The heartbeat, the breath, the healing of wounds all happen without our intervention, guided by an intelligence far greater than the mind. The more we grasp for control, the more rigid and confined we become, losing sight of the natural flow of life. This illusion separates us from the present moment, as we expend energy trying to predict and manipulate a future that is never guaranteed. In doing so, we often miss the beauty and richness of what is happening right now. The illusion of control also fosters a false sense of ownership over the world around us. We believe we can possess land, animals, even other people, bending them to our will. Yet these things, like life itself, are not ours to own or command. They exist as part of a greater whole, governed by forces far beyond our reach. Simplicity and presence. Simplicity is not the absence of richness, but the unveiling of it. In stripping away the unnecessary, we discover the essence of what truly matters. Life at its core is profoundly simple, yet we complicate it with endless desires, distractions, and expectations. In this cluttered pursuit, we often lose sight of the beauty that lies in the present moment, the here and now, where life actually unfolds. Presence is the gateway to simplicity. It is the practice of fully inhabiting each moment, free from the pull of past regrets or future anxieties. When we are present, even the most mundane experiences become profound. The taste of a meal, the sound of the wind in the trees, the warmth of sunlight on the skin, all of these become vivid and alive, no longer drowned out by the noise of a restless mind. Nature embodies this simplicity and presence. A bird sings not to prove its worth, but because it is its nature to sing. The flower blooms without seeking recognition, existing fully in its brief moment of radiance. The waves of the ocean rise and fall without striving for permanence, content simply to be. These are not acts of deliberation, but expressions of life in its purest form, free from the need to be anything other than what they are. Simplicity also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. When we let go of the excess, we see how little we truly need and how much we are supported by the world around us. A simple meal nourishes the body, a quiet moment soothes the mind, and a kind word connects us to others. Complexity often distracts us from these fundamental truths, while simplicity brings them into sharp focus. Presence requires a willingness to let go not of responsibility or care, but of the endless striving for control and the illusion that we must constantly do more, have more, or be more. It is an invitation to stop running, to stop searching, and to simply be. In doing so, we find that life itself is enough, and that the peace and clarity we seek are already here, waiting to be noticed. The sacred balance. Balance is not a static state, but a dynamic, living process, one that is continuously shifting, adapting, and evolving. The sacred balance exists in the interplay between all forces, light and dark, growth and decay, creation and destruction. It is not something we can control or impose, but rather something we must learn to align with, honoring the natural ebb and flow of life. The sacred balance speaks to the profound interdependence of all things, where each element exists in relation to the others, each contributing to the harmony of the whole. In nature, the sacred balance is evident in the cycles that govern the earth. The seasons shift without conflict, each bringing its necessary contributions to the cycle of life. Winter's stillness makes way for the bursts of spring, summer's abundance gives rise to autumn's harvest. Even the death of a plant or an animal becomes part of the great web, providing nutrients for new life to emerge. This balance is not one of opposition, but of cooperation, a dance of forces that work together to sustain the whole. Within ourselves, the sacred balance is reflected in the dualities of body and mind, emotion,